Let's see. Let's see. All right, then let's start. Welcome to Tradespoon and Yellow Tunnel. My name is Vlad Karpel. I'm CEO and founder of both companies, and today we're going to have a live trading room open to trade stock and options using our technology. Welcome YouTube subscribers. Welcome Discord. For those of you who are new, welcome. If this is your first live event, do me a favor, type in first. Always want to welcome new subscribers. Say hello. Martin, good morning. Lalit, good morning. One of the main difference between Yellow Tunnel, Tradespoon, and maybe some of the other services out there is that we have been focusing on building models based on the latest advances in artificial intelligence to find signals, short-term, medium-term, long-term signals in the market, overlay that with macroeconomic analysis, and use these signals to trade in a live trading room. So we do both. We build technology and we trade these, and this is what you're part of. Disclosures are very important. I'm going to show you some of the positions I have and some of the trade ideas. It's very important to understand the risk associated with trading stock or options. And you can see the disclosures here. And you can, if you're new to trading stock or options, I encourage you to visit optionsclearing.com so you can understand the risk associated with trading stock or options. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not registered with FINRA nor SEC. I'm showing you what I do in my own account, based on my own only. Please consult your financial advisor prior to making any trading decisions. Also, should not be assumed that the future trade picks will be profitable or will equal past performance. Trading psychology is important, right? Today, main event is NVIDIA, right? A lot of people bullish, so they consider this to be the most important earnings, of the season, maybe for the past couple of years, and obviously will set the tone in terms of direction of the market, right? Nobody knows exactly, right? The bar is set high, so on one hand, it's very hard to continue to beat quarter after quarter and guide higher, right? When you start with $4 billion, it's much easier. Next quarter, it's 15, then 30, then 60. It's very hard to exponentially grow your, not exponentially, but at least, geometrically grow your earnings. So the bar is set high, but on the other hand, every AI company said that they're building new models that need more computing power, and the only game in town is NVIDIA, right? So a lot of expectation. Demand outpaces supply when it comes to NVIDIA chips. So that will set the tone. Since nobody knows exactly what the earnings are going to look like, nor the reaction to the earnings, it makes sense to follow rules, right? The only way to deal with uncertainty, you have you concentrate on the process versus the outcome, right? That's the first step. What does the process look to me? Number of how much cash you have in the account. I propose to have 30% of your portfolio in cash, right? And how many positions you have and position size, right? And your stop levels, right? Portfolio drawdown basically says if the market is going to be down 5-10%, what is my portfolio going to be down, right? If you have 4 positions at 2.5% maximum exposure based on the stop loss, then your drawdown is 10%. If you have one, I propose to have at least one. Personally, I'm market neutral. I think market is going to try trade sideways, going into the unemployment data next week, going into September options expiration. Seasonality, it's weak, time, vulnerable time when any negative news can cause dislocations. So it makes sense to be market neutral, right? Maybe 2 bullish positions, 2 bearish positions. If you don't agree and you think if we're bullish, then you have 3 bullish positions and 1 bearish, right? And if you think that we heading into hard lines, and then you have 3 positions, 3 bearish position, 1 bullish. But I don't think it makes sense to have all your position bullish or all your positions bearish, right? You want to have combination. If you're trading options, cover call, merit put, butterflies, some more market neutral strategy, iron counters perhaps. If you're trading stock, you find asset classes that are inversely correlated to the stock market. It could be TLT has been breaking out, right? Bond trade is very popular now. Gold is breaking out, or inverse ETFs, right? A lot of people find, reallocate their portfolio into safety asset classes such as healthcare, utilities, consumer staples, and that's where they find in dividends and growth. So that would be my trading plan. I would record every trade in your journal and have a checklist, right? Cash, number of position size. Here's another list of checks that I usually use, right? Wait for 2 to 3 days to confirm the trend change. Wait till end of day to make trades. Do not sell naked options. Be long and short the market at the same time. Use spreads, set your stop levels, right? So position size is probably the most difficult, right? So let's see. Let's look at dashboard. Trying to get better at the bar chart. So you can see support is at just move this out. So we're at 52-week high, right? If you zoom in, we are at 52-week high. Next support is 555. So let's look at the Tradespoon or yellow tunnel. So I'm going into the NVIDIA earnings, which is the most important. News is 556 is your support, 561 overhead resistance, model turn negative. Trend is negative, right? Makes sense, double top. We had 10% rally. We have to, some kind of consolidation has to take place, right? Maybe short-lived, maybe a little bit more pronounced, but some kind of consolidation. If NVIDIA doesn't live up to expectations, or unemployment data ticks up next Friday, we could be at 540, right? 550 is the first level support, 542 is the next level support. Today is 556. I agree with the model, right? I agree with the model. I think this is, until we have a decisive breakout in value stocks, this is what you would expect. So 555 is your support. That's kind of this level. Next level would be 50-day moving average. So 550, 548, we talked about this level being well positioned, and then 540. I would say as long as we're above 540, bulls are in control, right? If we give up half of the gains, I think that would be healthy, all right? And that would be a buy signal. If we do, if the 540 doesn't hold, then it opens the door to 200-day moving average and revisiting the July lows, right? So very important. And those are the 2 data points that one needs to consider. Let's look at what are some of the macroeconomic news. So outside of Christopher War's speech in Indian payments, or Bostic's speech that usually I don't think it's going to set, they're not going to say anything new, so I don't think it's going to move the market. Initial jobless claims, right? A lot of people paying attention to this now that the unemployment ticked up. So we wanted to stay kind of within expectation. We don't want it to be 250,000. I mean, we don't want it to be 150,000, right? Because fear of inflation coming back. So if it comes in line with expectation, I think market. And then Friday, we do have PCE data, personal income. We already have July data from CPI and PPI. So usually PCE doesn't give you a big surprise that can move the market. It kind of comes in with expectations. What else? So 10-year yield is at 3.82, hasn't changed. Let's look at. So let's look at TLT. So TLT kind of also double top, right? It's struggling to break through this level. Same thing with 10-year yield. It's sitting at 3.8. A lot of chatter that 2-year yield dropped. Right now, 2-year yield is down. And the 10-year yield is up. And they're almost equal, right? The 2-year yield is 386 and the 10-year yield is 382. We have that US. All right, so the 2-year yield is at 386, and then 10-year yield is 382. So again, yield curve normalization. Why is important? 30 years more than they're getting close, right? They're almost the same. So that means yield is normalizing, right? The yield curve looks like this. All right, you can do drawing on Mac now. Didn't realize it, right? So this is the yield curve that everybody wants, right? If you're waiting longer, right, then the yield should be greater, right? We had yield inversion, right, for a very long time. Positive slope on this yield curve. We don't want negative slope on this. So that's good. What else? Dollar is important, right? Dollar continues to drop. It's a pretty weak dollar. It's off the lows, but it continues to break below the January lows, right? Around 100. So it dipped a little bit below that, but still sitting at the 2023 lows, right? So it's not even 2024 low. This is 2023 lows that the 10-year yield is sitting on. Crude oil. The oil October. So crude oil is at 74.66, right? So that's trading. Double bottom. It's still below 200-day moving average. Japanese yen is up. Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin is, let's see. Bitcoin, the US dollar, Bitcoin. We'll do grayscale. No. Bitcoin, Tether, BND. Trying to get used to the nomenclature. Bitcoin futures, how about that? Okay. Bitcoin futures 60,000, right? So it's sitting right at the 60,000, still below 50-day moving average, still descending channel, right? So that kind of indicates that the risk is off, right? So risk off. And then I would look at high yield. High yield broke out, right? It's 2020, broke the 2024 high, continues to break out. So that's risk on, usually means. So there's kind of difference between high yield and Bitcoin. Bitcoin is, last time I checked, is down 3%, right? Bitcoin is down 3%. Down 3%. Off the session low, it went to 57, but breaking down, right? So risk off trade in Bitcoin. And usually Bitcoin and NVIDIA is very highly correlated. Right? They're highly correlated. NVIDIA is doing okay, right? Down 0.5% and still sitting at the key support. You're still trading below 123.40. All right, any questions? So meanwhile, spiders are flat, QQQ spiders are flat, right? QQQ is flat, value stocks are flat, Lila slightly down, NVIDIA slightly down, dollar is up, Google's flat, Cisco. All right, any questions? So in terms of earnings, let's look at some of the earnings and some of the trade ideas, right? So the trade ideas, you can find them here under aggressive power trader. And usually I wait 15 minutes. So it's either aggressive power trader. This is a model that's optimized for short price fluctuations. So you have, again, utilities on the list. Costco is breaking out, home builders, and insurance. Those are the stocks in minutes, right? So let's look at Costco, for example. You look at the 5-minute chart, right? Those are the 15 minutes. And then you basically waiting for the, let's see, let's look at Costco. Let's do 15-minute. Let's add to the watch list. Okay. Somewhere down. Okay. And then switch to 15-minute bars. Okay, so we still don't have the live quotes. Okay, so let's go back to trade view. So I would add Costco. Right, you can find the same information in on Tradespoon under Active Trader. Right, under Active Trader, you have Costco, we have CMS, and Lenard. Right, here you have Costco, Lenard, Progressive, and regional banks. So depending on where you want to have exposure to. So let's do Costco and Lenard. Costco, Lenard, Progressive. So 15 minutes, right? It's 10 minutes, so jump to 910, roll back. I mean, you do have a support, maybe at 901, right? This is kind of your short-term support if you zoom out. You do have a breakout, right? We talked about Walmart, we talked about Costco, it finally broke out. I mean, you do have a support at 891, so that would be maybe 2%, right? Around 2% stop loss. 2% stop loss, we're at session low. Right, we're at session low. So, I mean, if you do day trading, you might want to use 900 as your stop loss. If you're doing, if you're going to hold it, you know, at least maybe even through next Friday, right? Give yourself, you know, a week or two for the trade. I would definitely, you know, the breakout level is where you want to concentrate, right? So 891, 891. So usually I wait 15 minutes, find support, right? It rallied to 912, it pulled back. I mean, you do have support here. You know, we might want to wait another 5 minutes, right, to find the support, but that's how I would set up this trade. Kohl's had earnings, they're up 3%. Chewy had earnings, they're up 10%. So Chewy going up. I actually had Iron Condor. Let me look at that. Actually, sorry, I had Butterfly. Call and put Butterfly. So let's look at how it looks. So high concentration of so I have 28 call, right? So I have 28 call, it's trading at 28. And then I have 30. Put a trade to and high concentration. Let's look at high concentration. So this is a good example. If you look at the estimated analysis for Chewy, wait till it loads, start later. Never a good message. Let's try again. So dealer exposure on Chewy. So high open interest, we can actually do it here too. So high open interest is at 32. High open interest, the highest open interest was at 32. We're trading at 28, right? So for that reason, let's see. Expected move for Chewy was So 20% move, $5, right? $5 was the expected move. It moved 2.5, right? So the middle strike I chose 30 to be 30. So 28, 30, 32 spread. And in terms of high open interest, let's look at CHW. Let's look at gamma levels. So you have some to 28, but you have much higher positioning at 30. So the highest open interest is at 30, right? And you can see how the gamma is concentrated on August 30th and 9/20. If you're doing calendar spreads and you want to pick the months, this would be the months. But the highest position is at 30. So Chewy has a positive earnings and it's gravitated over 30. It's already 28.90. So I can put a same thing. I can put a spread to close 28.30 call, right? 5 by 5, and see if I can close it. We'll do it for. Well, I think I could get to 30, so we can be patient. You know, still wait for. But let's put $1.50 for now. I do have time, so I'm gonna put $1.50 for that spread. So that's CHWY if you did that trade. Calls up 2%, JWN up 4%, SMTC up 1%, so not very impressive, right? I mean, it's great if you did the iron condor. If you did butterfly like I did, then you need higher moves. So that's CHW. So Kafka continues to drop. It's 15 minutes. So I mean, you do have support at 900. So I think right now, I mean, if you're day trading, you maybe want to wait till it, you know, you have at least another green candlestick. If you're going to hold this through NVIDIA earnings, then I would maybe put the trade now. So Costco, buy. Now the difficult question is how many shares can I buy, right? If I have $10,000, I don't really know what NVIDIA earnings is going to look like. Do I really know what the unemployment data will look like? So if I'm planning to hold this position at least till next Friday, you know, I propose to use this as a stop level, right? You have kind of a well-defined line. Basically, attempted breakout once, breakout for the past 2 days. And that would be my support level, right? 893, which is about 2%. If I do hit this line, or some people might say, well, Vlad, this is much stronger support, 877. That would be 23 points, so maybe 3% stop, 3%. So whatever the stop line is, whatever your stop levels are, how long you're willing to wait, right? But I would draw them out, right? I would leave them on. And basically say that if this is my stop level, I don't want to be down more than $100 on, if it reaches this level, right? It's basically a drop of 10 points. Maybe you can buy 10 shares, right? 10 shares times 900. That's pretty big exposure, right? It's $9,000. So I would get more conservative. I would say I don't want to be down $100 if it reaches this level, 875, which is $30, right? $30. So I can buy maybe 3 shares, right? If I buy 3 shares of Costco and it reaches 875, then I can make a decision, right? So that would be my thought process. So it depends on how long you hold in the position. This is what I would do. And obviously, the more out you're going, then the more likely the more likely that this level will hold. Right? I mean, this is support. This is a weak support, right? This is a short-term support for day traders, and this is obviously support for longer-term trading, right? If you hold in position for a few weeks, maybe even months, that would be my support level. So that would be Costco. Any questions on Costco? Any questions on Chewy? JWN continues to go higher. Let's see, JWN. 3.5 call. All right, so JWN also have call. Let's close the 25 call. Let's look at the position of JWN. So I chose 23.5, 25 strike, right? Because there's a lot of gamma distributed in these strikes, 23, 24, 20.5 call, 25 call. So 25 call, I'm going to close. So now I can close the 25 call because it's only worth 3 cents. And I'm going to leave 23.5 call with the idea that this could act as a magnet, right? Then we reach 22 level where there's a highest open gamma position. Next level is 23, right? So dealers could be forced, right, to kind of be gamma neutral and, you know, continue to buy stock to defend their short calls. Right, so we could move to 24 level. At 24 level, most likely they will be forced to sell, and we're back to 23. I mean, obviously, it depends on NVIDIA earnings and macroeconomic news, but at least this is how it's positioned. And you can see a lot of gamma is in October, actually, October and August expiration. But that's how I would look at the JWN position. See if I can close it for 70 cents, for 80 cents. So that's Nordstrom. Nordstrom positioning. And Chewy calls, 4%, Progressive flat, Lennard flat, Costco down 67. Progressive up 60 basis points, Lennard flat, Costco is down 60 basis points. Waiting for eBay to pull back to get into a calendar spread, right? I closed the front month short put, so I'm trying to weekly, trying to open short put. But waiting for a pullback is kind of not going to break above 50-day moving average. Pulling back, Microsoft. And again, the idea is that, yes, small caps rally and mid cap rallies, and you do participation. Right? You do have broadening of market participation. But, right, we're almost at July highs in terms of stocks that are participating in this rally, right, above 50-day moving average. But the question is, can it do it without Meta, right? Without the leaders, right? Meta is, you know, rolling over, not rolling over, but, you know, was not able to break through all-time high. Microsoft is at 200-day moving average. Tesla is, you know, at 200-day moving average. Even stronger stocks like Apple are, you know, not breaking out, but, you know, underperforming the general market, right? So, I mean, a lot of it will be tonight, right? NVIDIA will set the tone. Either these mega cap stocks are going to roll over and start selling off, or they will rebound and take the leadership again, right? Those are probably the two outcomes. Going to the event, obviously, people are nervous, right? Usually, if people are optimistic, they, you know, everybody's buying NVIDIA calls. But right now, it doesn't look like people are buying NVIDIA calls, right? So. And you can see a lot of open interest at 140, so probably not going to reach one. I mean, this is where bulls are going to have hard time breaking through 140, right? 15 points to the upside, and then 20 points to the downside is where 120 high concentration of open interest and gamma, right? How the dealers are positioning. We saw that for the most part they're gamma positive, right? There's more dealers are gamma positive, right? So they're long gamma. The long gamma on calls, and on puts obviously a lot less demand for puts, but people are long gamma. So 140 level is probably going to be well defended. So if you look at earnings power trader, wow, Lady Godiva is back. Rosser, Lady Godiva, letter trades, Cherry Blossom, L Mark. Discord guys, full house, thank you. Type in some questions in that stream chat, just so I know you guys are, I know you're listening, but. Bob, good morning, coach. I had a hard time loading to go today. Did anyone else report issues? Attendance is probably average, so I think, but did anyone have a hard time loading? Go to meeting? Good morning, Fred. For IWM starting to show weakness as well, my thoughts. IWM, I still 2 events you want to hedge some, you want to have hedge. I mean, IWM chart looks very strong, right? It's a strong rebound. It's almost at all-time high. Not as strong as value stocks, right? Not as strong as value stocks. Value stocks, decisive breakout continues to rally, right? Your healthcare, your banks, your utilities company, they're breaking out, right? Equal weight S&P, right? Was it RSP? Equal weight, right? So your equal weight S&P is breaking out, right? It's just your mega cap, the momentum, high beta stocks, momentum stocks, they are obviously underperforming. They're struggling, kind of hold on to this 50-day moving average. So, right, and I have as the call spread, right? So you can see it here. Right, so I did get into Costco. So I did buy Costco. I do have NVIDIA, right? The strikes 150, 155, with the idea that if dealers are long at 140, we're not going to move more than $15. And if you look at expected move for NVIDIA, I think it was $15, right? $20. It's actually $20. 15%, $20. So with the idea that we will not get more than, but with high concentration, that we're not going to get that much further out than 140. Let's get more strikes. So you do have also, so first level of defense is 140, but if they do hit a home run, we could get to 150. We could get to 150. So if you're selling the condors, right, I think 150 is a smaller probability, right? There's only, if you look at the spread, let's do that. Vertical spreads. Right, so 150, 155 spread, 8%, 8% that the underlying price is above the option strike price at expiration, right? So that would be my, probability of the underlying trading above the break-even point, right? So 12%. So only 12% probability that the trade will go against me, right? And I'm collecting, I think we did the spread for 50 cents. 32 and 25, 57 cents. So you're collecting basically 0.5%, and only 1 out of 10 times, based on statistics, NVIDIA can deliver earnings that will outperform those expectations, and that would be the thought process for NVIDIA. Any questions? What if I do near the money? Is that better? Resolution. I still don't see 150. Okay. Okay. So we got to do 50. Questions on NVIDIA, Costco. Deal close. Great. All right. Box. Thank you, Bob. Box earnings. Let's look. I didn't do box earnings. Didn't ask, but it's hit a home run. 10% up. Very nice. So corporate spending is still there, right? This is a store, file storage company, and Abercrombie & Fitch down 15%. That's stricken out. They've been one of the strongest stock, right? They had a very strong performance for very long. 1 or 2 earnings, and you have this double top, and now it's going to struggle. Thank you for letting me know, Bob. SMCI is tanking. Yes, so SMCI is in the news, right? We talked about it. Didn't really deliver that great of the earnings. It struggled on the earnings, right? It was down in May earnings. Now you have this short report from, what is it? Not Heisenberg, but Heisenberg. There's a Heisenberg principle, Schrödinger equation, Heisenberg principle. I think it's Hindenburg, right? Hindenburg, SMCI. I mean, Hindenburg. Fresh evidence of account manipulation. JP Morgan just came out. I mean, it's a fallen knife, right? You don't want to catch the fallen knife. Whether they do have account, I mean, nobody knows whether they do have accounting manipulation or not. I would wait, right? I would wait. I mean, definitely have a good support at 2024 low, right? So it's heading toward 324. So usually you don't want to catch the fallen knife. You want to find at least some kind of a level of stabilization, right? So you either something like here, right, where at least it's not making new lows, right? I mean, now it broke out, so it wasn't really good, but something where there is evidence of consolidation, right? So that would be my approach to SMCI. And hopefully that will give you time for this news to settle in, because JP Morgan will come out with overweight, it's going to rally, then Hindenburg is going to post down balance sheet manipulations, and etc. It was a very popular stock. Obviously, a lot of people getting burned on it, but this is a bearish chart, right? There's nothing positive. Even before the news, there was nothing positive about their earnings, right? So you don't want to catch the fallen knife. It did break this triangle, right? Kind of this long-term base down of these triangles, right? Descending triangles. You need strong earnings to reverse the trend, right? You need strong earnings to reverse the trend. There's nothing positive about the stock as long as it's below 50-day moving average. Shorts we're going to try to push it down. So personally, I would not trade this. Still holding call. EQR doing good. All right, nice. EQR good. How's my VNO doing? VNO. It's consolidating. It's not going lower, so it looks good. We have Costco. Oh, eBay is finally pulling back. But, still kind of trading sideways, consolidating. Meta's down, Microsoft down, Tesla's down, Apple slightly higher, Google down. LA Lilly, trying to get into LA Lilly. That's consolidating to double top. So until it breaks out, the assumption that it's going to consolidate potentially to the downside. Silver is down 2% back to the 50-day moving average. Small caps are slightly lower. Banks slightly higher. Spiders slightly lower. SEM is down. QQQ down. So SEM is QQQ an important support level. So that's kind of the line in the sand is this line. So we wait. No problem loading DIS for breakout today. Bob, yeah. So equal weight S&P, Dow Jones, VTV all going higher. Model calling for a pretty good decline in W over the next days. I mean, it is calling for decline, right, in S&P, and it is calling for decline for RWM. But the model is not trained on the earnings. It's not trained on how to predict, outcome of, earnings, unemployment data. So it doesn't know, right? But based on the current price levels, it sees that the small caps and spiders and I think QQQ is too, or is QQQ oversold? Probably QQQ is positive now, turning positive. Yeah, QQQ is turning positive, right? Because it's analyzing patterns and trends. And you can see that QQQ is short-term, is oversold. It's sitting on a long-term support. So the model says, well, unless you have a negative catalyst, 484. And I agree with the model, right? Short-term, it should go to 484. Obviously, I understand that there's NVIDIA earnings after the close. Model doesn't know about this. This is my advantage over the model. And I just know that you can't really, not only you could maybe predict what the earnings is going to be, but you definitely cannot predict what the reaction to these earnings is going to be. So last year it was kind of up and down, and then after the September apex, NVIDIA started to pull back. But there has to be some kind of negative catalyst for that. So my thought process is that you want to be long and short the market at the same time. QQQ is oversold. I agree with the model. IWM, I agree with the model, is overbought. Right, it's overbought right after basically 10% move to the upside, right? Over 10% move to the upside. Nice to check. MMFI, right? I think we did that. That's over 50-day moving average. That's MMFI. Strong rebound, right? It's close to July highs. So that's the bullish argument. The participation is growing, right? 65%, 70% of the companies are participating, and overbought levels where it peaked last December of 23. December of 23, right? So December of 23. So that's where it peaked. So this is overbought. So it's not overbought, and it's definitely off the lows. So that's good. Kava had earnings trending down, insiders selling. They had a strong earnings pullback. This is bullish price pattern, right? Usually, as long as CAV above the session low, right, the open print after the earnings 110, it should continue to go higher. So this is a bullish price pattern, right? Flag formation, consolidation, typical earnings, and usually it goes higher. This is why a lot of people do strangles, right? They sell out of the money put, they sell out of the money call, because they're going to say, for the next few weeks or months, it's just going to trade sideways. I believe GRMN. Also bullish pattern, right? Even though it sold off after the earnings together with the market, but now it's higher. So, and it's breaking out, right? It's similar to equal weight S&P. So yes, it's a bullish pattern, 4 days above the breakout level. So it does look strong, Garmin. Thank you, Bob. All right. Any other questions? So we talked about Costco. Let's put on trades to close it. All right. So I bought. So I'll put half of the shares. I will look for 1%. So 904, 913. So I'll try to sell half of the shares at 913. All right, capture 1%, and half I'll try to capture 2%. That's my goal. And the other half of the shares I'll try to get 20 points, 924, 923. And if it pulls back to that support level, then based on market conditions, maybe I can add to Costco, right? But for now, I'm just going to watch. Any question on Costco? Kevin, I appreciate. Yeah, send me the research. I mean, nobody. My opinion that nobody can predict, NVIDIA earnings, right? Even if it's even if they guide down, right, slightly, the initial reaction could be down, but then it could rally up, right? So, I mean, unless you know what they're actually going to say, unless you have some kind of inside information, I mean, I do agree that usually NVIDIA going into the earnings, right, you have some kind of a bullish momentum, right? So here it pulled back and into earnings, but same thing, it consolidated and then break out, right? So you could have this, right? If they have strong earnings, you could have continuation going higher, right? It happened last May. It happened, in May before that, right? So in May, very bullish for NVIDIA. You have strong earnings, continues to rally. But, last earnings in August, I mean, the initial reaction was up, then it consolidated, then it dropped. Not because of the earnings, but because just, it wasn't enough. And then, macro took over. 22, let's see, what was 22? September. I mean, obviously it was, also consolidating, but that's about it. Sorry about that. All right, I do have to run. Okay, any other questions? So in terms of positions, so we talked about silver, we talked about small cap. I do have a hedge on SH. eBay, I'm waiting for it to pull back to get into that spread again. I still have VNO, it's not going anywhere for now. And NVIDIA earnings. So those are positions that I have. And now we have Costco. All right. Any other questions? All right. On YouTube, thank you. Please hit the like button on YouTube. Find the word Tradespoon. Hit the like button. On Discord, please say hello. Share it with your friends. And I will see you guys tomorrow morning. Thank you.